Liang Hyuk is rushed to the hospital and cared for by a pretty nurse named Da-yoon. Hyuk tells her that he got seriously sick after working hard on passing a test for a major engineering job. Hyuk not only passed the test but also got the job. Da-yoon assures him that he will be alright. Hyuk is suffering from hepatitis, and other patients around him start to believe that it might be contagious. Hyuk's parents come to see their sick child, but they also start to wonder if Hyuk's disease is contagious. They avoid any physical contact with Hyuk. Soon, Hyuk gets messages from his close friends that they will not be coming to see him as they don't want to get this disease themselves. Da-yoon lets every other patient know that hepatitis isn't contagious and Hyuk would be perfectly normal after some days. She's extremely nice to Hyuk and she even kisses his IV bag so that Hyuk can be relieved. Hyuk goes for a walk and finds Da-yoon in the hallway smoking cigarette. Da-yoon tells Hyuk that she isn't allowed to smoke in front of the head nurse. She also converses about how she has to work 8-hour shift every single day. Hyuk notices a ring on her finger, which she says is her graduation ring. Soon the head nurse arrives and Da-yoon blames the smoking on Hyuk to avoid getting herself in trouble. The following day, Da-yoon apologizes to Hyuk for putting the entire blame on him. As he is eating, she joins him eating his food without his permission, and he doesn't seem to mind it at all. Da-yoon promises to buy him food later. One night, she gets so tired that she decides to take a nap on Hyuk's bed. Hyuk starts to become attracted to Da-yoon and even shares it with his friends. Da-yoon catches Hyuk smoking in the hallway and gets mad at him. Later on, she checks on him and notices Hyuk got her a message on his phone in which he swears never to smoke again. Soon Hyuk begins to call Da-yoon to meet him, thinking that it would be a patient call, but most of the time Hyuk calls her to read messages he leaves for her, along with something for her to eat. She is tired from working during the day, but for the most part Hyuk calls Da-yoon so that she can take a nap whenever she feels tired. Hyuk even steals expensive macaroons from another patient's fridge and gives them to Da-yoon. While having lunch together, Da-yoon inquires if Hyuk has a girlfriend, to which Hyuk freaks out and says he doesn't. When told by other doctors that he would be discharged in a day or two, Hyuk begins to panic as he doesn't want to leave Da-yoon just yet. He also gets jealous when he sees Da-yoon talking to one of her colleagues very closely. He leaves the hospital and Da-yoon is not around. He is not happy at all to leave without saying proper goodbye to Da-yoon or getting her number. When he is with his friends, he eats uncooked meat hoping to get sick and end up in the hospital again. But it doesn't work and he visits the hospital anyway with the plan of getting Da-yoon's number. Just when he can properly memorize her number, the head nurse arrives and Hyuk has to leave immediately. He goes back home and tries to remember Da-yoon's number. After trying various combinations with the half number he learned, Hyuk is finally able to make contact with Da-yoon. He tells her that he likes her very much. Da-yoon invites Hyuk to her home as she's completely alone. Hyuk takes his father's car and rushes to Da-yoon's apartment. His father gets furious for taking his car without his permission. He arrives at Da-yoon's apartment and nervous to start a conversation. As he gets a bit more uneasy, he decides to leave, but Da-yoon asks him to sleep alongside with her for the night, and he does. The next morning, Hyuk fixes a broken light bulb, takes out the trash, and even prepares breakfast. Da-yoon is moved by his effort to prove that he actually has feeling for her. She briefly makes out with him. For the next couple of days, Hyuk assists Da-yoon in her work and enjoying his new life. Although his parents have yet to believe that he is in a relationship, Hyuk is sometimes envious of Da-yoon's colleague who happens to be around her. Upon asking where her ring is, Da-yoon tells him that she lost it. Da-yoon has received a vacation package to Jeju Island and she wants him to go with her. Hyuk and Da-yoon go to get matching shirts for each other, but are unable to complete the purchase as Hyuk can't find the right size for himself. Hyuk arrives at the airport for their flight to Jeju Island, and Da-yoon surprises him with the sneakers that match hers. Hyuk feels bad about his size, and he promises to lose weight for their next trip to Jeju Island next Christmas. Hyuk makes good on his promise and loses much of his weight. Hyuk is in a phenomenal physique and looks better than ever. Hyuk and Da-yoon are enjoying their life as usual, and Hyuk seems to be doing good in his job as well. He is informed by his boss that he has been called up to a much larger corporation in Seoul. Also, he is hesitant to leave Da-yoon and his city. He can't also give up on this huge offer, as he believes that it may be good for his career and Da-yoon. Hyuk informs Da-yoon that he can't give up on this offer. Da-yoon is skeptical as she believes that this was something he should have discussed with her before saying yes. He surprises her with his brand new car. He also gives Da-yoon a new ring as she lost her old one. Then he prepares to leave for Seoul, and while he is on his way, he watches people who are tired of going to work every single day. He mocks them as he can't believe how people could be tired of working that much. When he reaches his new workplace, a mysterious employee shows him the way to his office. He introduces him to his new bosses and is also introduced to Bo Yang, who would be competing against him for the permanent job position. He finds Bo Yang to be competitive and starts thinking of ways how he could finalize his permanent position. Da-yoon advises him that he should do something that would make the bosses appreciate him more. Hyuk comes up with the idea of buying everyone coffee in the office, but Bo Yang comes in his way and decides to distribute the coffee to every employee, even when Hyuk doesn't ask for her help, and because of this, Bo Yang gets the complete credit for it. The entire team in the company is working on creating a design for a new bridge. Bo Yang tries everything to mislead him, and Hyuk even falls for it, which leads to him getting scolded by his boss. Hyuk is getting frustrated by Bo Yang, and Da-yoon advises him to one-up on Bo Yang the next time she decides to get clever. The time has come for the presentation of new bridge design. At first, the entire team is applauded for creating a strong design, but Hyuk interferes the celebration and says that the bridge might collapse if a tsunami ever hits it. When the tests are run, Hyuk is proven to be right. Hyuk is happy as he is able to make Bo Yang look a little less impressive. The head of the company decides to pair up the new employees, Bo Yang and Hyuk, to create the design of the bridge. Hyuk tries his best to tease Bo Yang even more, and he is able to gain the upper hand every time. Hyuk hasn't been paying much attention to his work, while Bo Yang is working extremely hard. Hyuk goes back to his apartment and can't wait to tell Da-yoon how he was able to make Bo Yang look bad in front of the executives. Before he can do so, he falls asleep as he is extremely tired. Hyuk is on his way back to his office the next day, and he notices that his life is becoming just like others, who he used to mock for overworking themselves. Da-yoon proposes that he doesn't have to come back to the apartment every single day, as he can come back on the weekends from now on. Bo Yang is exhausted from creating the bridge design, and she hasn't taken a day off ever since she was paired with Hyuk. They are working late night when the light goes out. Hyuk tells Bo Yang that he is leaving for home, to which Bo Yang begins to yell at him that she has been doing all of the work by herself and he hasn't helped even once. He feels bad for Bo Yang and thinks that he might have gone a bit overboard when it comes to making her work miserable. He helps her in creating the bridge design, and both of them are able to create a design that can withstand a tsunami. The bosses applaud the effort of both, and the company looks forward to having them work on further new projects. During the company dinner, Hyuk hopes to leave early so that he can meet Da-yoon, while Bo Yang drinks way too much alcohol. Hyuk returns back to his apartment. He doesn't find Da-yoon in the apartment, but later learns from her that her shift was changed, which is why she had to work at night. She also asks Hyuk to change the broken light bulb, but Hyuk is unable to do so as he is extremely tired. The next morning at work, the boss appreciates Bo Yang and Hyuk even more. Bo Yang confesses that she enjoys working with Hyuk, to which Hyuk adds that he feels the same about her. For the next couple of days, both Hyuk and Bo Yang work together on a new project closely with each other. Both of them are enjoying each other's company, but at the same time, Da-yoon is being completely ignored by Hyuk. Bo Yang seems to have taken a liking to Hyuk. The next project turns out to be even more successful than the last one. Bo Yang proposes that they should go for dinner together that night, which Hyuk is absolutely fine with. While they are working on a brand new project, the light goes out once again, and Bo Yang seems to make a romantic advance toward Hyuk. As he is completely committed to Da-yoon, he leaves abruptly. Hyuk returns home and finds Da-yoon in a frustrated mood. She is upset that Hyuk didn't change the light bulb and that Hyuk always comes home to relax rather than to meet her. Also, she mentions that she may seem to be pregnant. Da-yoon visits a doctor and she finds out that she is indeed pregnant. Hyuk doesn't seem to be too excited over this news, and because of this, he doesn't pay much attention to his work at the office. Hyuk and Da-yoon visit a medical clinic, and both of them make a heart-wrenching decision. Hyuk appears to be senseless, but Da-yoon keeps her spirits up, although she is deeply affected by this situation. Hyuk has decided to take some time off from his office so that he can focus on Daeun's health. Daeun urges him to go to work as he doesn't need him around. Hyuk follows her comments and heads back to work. Hyuk works till night and he hopes to get back to Daeun as soon as possible, even though the routine of him getting tired by the time he reaches home is the same. Upon asking if he is still interested in going to Jeju Island on Christmas, he doesn't give a proper answer. Hyuk is getting annoyed by how he has to travel to work on a routine basis, which has been affected both his work and relationship with Daeun. Boyoung seems to be upset with Hyuk as they were performing quite well over the last few months. Hyuk decides to focus on his work by staying in Seoul a little longer. Soon both Boyoung and Hyuk regain their charm as a strong pair. While they are shopping, Hyuk completely avoids Daeun and doesn't show even the slightest enthusiasm. Before they can drive off to get something to eat, Daeun is distraught over the fact that Hyuk has been completely ignoring her. Hyuk tries to cheer her up but makes a terrible mistake by calling her Boyoung instead of her actual name. This puts Daeun in serious doubt that Hyuk might be having an affair with Boyoung. Upon asking who Boyoung really is, Hyuk asks Daeun if she suspects that Hyuk might be having an affair with Boyoung behind her back. Daeun cries that both of them had to give up on their child only for Hyuk to go after another woman. Hyuk doesn't want to explain or defend himself, so he decides to leave for Seoul. Hyuk returns to his work, and when Boyoung tries to get a little close to him, both of them share a romantic kiss. This leads to a much more serious relationship between the two. Hyuk begins to get reminder messages about the tickets he reserved for Jeju Island, but he doesn't know what to do with it as he hasn't been in contact with Daeun for some time now. The day finally arrives when Boyoung and Hyuk would find out if their jobs have been made permanent or not. It turns out that the existing permanent employees of the company have been credited with work of Boyoung and Hyuk. None of them has got a full-time permanent job offer. Hyuk is heartbroken that he didn't get the job and has almost lost Daeun. Boyoung says that she is considering going abroad for further studies. Hyuk suddenly remembers his tickets to Jeju Island and decides to fix his relationship with Daeun. He grabs the ring that he once gifted to Daeun and rushes to the airport. When he watches Daeun, he runs towards her but bumps into another man and falls down. It turns out that there were two young Hyuk who were with Daeun. One of them was the overweight person, Lee Yang-hyuk, whom Daeun tended to at the hospital, and the other one was Yang-hyuk, who was in a serious relationship with Daeun. Daeun fell in love with Yang-hyuk at the hospital just like Lee. Daeun got pregnant when she was with Lee at the hospital, which explains her sudden cravings for food and sudden tiredness. After giving up on her baby, Daeun decides to have a relationship with Lee. She later on gave the tickets to Jeju Island to Lee as it was easy because he shared the same name as Yang-hyuk. Yang-hyuk is numb over the betrayal of Daeun and he returns to Boyoung. Boyoung has won the tickets to Jeju Island as well, and Yang-hyuk proposes to Boyoung, who leaves him too, saying that they aren't there yet.